Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Lunaverse Season 2. As we start off our tales with Episode 1 of Season 2 by RainbowDoubleDash, Return of Tambelon. Chapter 1, Signs and Portents. Ooh! Tambelon 5 reference. Love it. Carrot Top blinked a few times as he heard a knock on the door. Coming just as he was about to take a bite out of her namesake product, of course. It was apparently that kind of day. Frowning, she glared at the door, melting willingly to tell whoever was on the other side to go away. Even as he crunched down on a carrot in a very determined, as he believed, threatening manner. Naturally, the door remained inanimate, and powerless to stop a second series of knocks. The farmer stood, looking forlornly at her once, even as he trotted over to her front door. She spent all morning pawing her fields for the next round of planting. Still had a long day ahead of her. She didn't need an interruption to one break she was likely to get today. Least of all, while her stomach was growling at her for only having half finished her breakfast. With a beleaguered sigh, Carrot Top opened the front door. "What?" she demanded of Luna Equestrius, Shipper of the Moon, Caretaker of the Sun, Mistress of the Star Beast, Sovereign of the Three Tribes, the immortal, eternally youthful Princess of Equestria, and not the kind of pony you wanted to make demands of. It's certainly not in the tone of volume of voice Carrot Top had used. Carrot Top slammed her front door shut and willed herself not to exist. Then she realized that the only thing worse than shouting at Princess Luna was slamming the door in her face. Carrot Top slowly opened the door again, peeking out cautiously. Princess Luna was still there, looking at her with a bemused expression. Standing beside her was Trixie, who looked like she was trying to decide whether to be sympathetic towards Carrot Top, or else double over with laughter. Behind them were two ponies to the night guard, both earth ponies, and behind them, another earth pony with a dozen of adolescent foals from all three tribes, each in Cult Scout uniforms. Luna smiled beautifully at Carrot Top. "Is this about time?" she asked. My little pony, my little pony, ah, my little pony, friendship never meant that much to me, my little pony. Well, you're all here, now I can see stormy weather, lots to share, a musical bond, living here, teaching laughter, it's an easy feat, and magic makes it all complete. You have my little ponies. How did I ever make so many friends? You are watching the Lunaverse, created by RainbowDoubleDash, presented by Hasbro, brought to you by Follow Starfleet, last two chapters. Coming soon to a fanfic near you, Follow Starfleet, presenting some of the best voice actors money could buy. Some part of Carrot Top's brain that didn't value life very much tried to make her say yes, this is a bad time. The rest of her mind fell upon that part and trampled it with an inch of its life, even as it passed the message to her vocal cords. No, Carrot Top said, opening her door fully and waving a hoof. Come on in, your majesty. Luna inclined her head in thanks, striding with all the grace and poise that was expected of her station. Making her way to Carrot Top's living room, Trixie followed, having settled and smiling at Carrot Top. She leaned in close to the earth pony. Don't worry, she said, the volume of her voice perfectly normal, as she continued with, believe me, it takes a lot more than that to offend the princess. Shh! Carrot Top demanded in a harsh whisper. Why? Trixie asked. The princess can hear our heartbeats, probably. Well, think Carrot Top, certainly, given how hard it's beating, Luna chimed in. Carrot Top only barely registered the uses of her knightly tarot dame, instead of simply miss. Her pony was getting used to the idea of being created as an official knight of the realm. Carrot Top jumped, trying to face her sovereign. I am so sorry, Your Majesty. I didn't mean to, or shout, or slam. The front host gestured wildly, as though she was physically trying to point out her excuses. Trixie tugged her under one wild swing, backing away a few paces as she beamed in the face by the panicked earth pony. Luna held up one hoof. Please calm yourself, she insisted, inclining her head. I'm the one who showed up unannounced while you were trying to eat. Food! Carrot Top exclaimed, eyes widening. She runs towards her kitchen, clamoring about as he began digging in around the cupboards around her icebox, looking for food fit for a princess and failing to find, at least in her eyes, food fit for a visiting aunt. Back in the living room, Luna looked at Trixie, with one eyebrow slightly raised. "Will she be all right?" she asked her student. Trixie waved to her a huff. "Give her a few minutes." Indeed, a few minutes later, Carrot Top came out of her kitchen. She balanced on her back and carrying enough of the hastily thrown carrot salad to feed a whole herd of ponies, and laid it before the princess. "Here you go, your majesty. I was just expecting you, and you must be hungry for the trip here." "It looks quite delicious," Luna assured Carrot Top. "Wonder if you could pocket to go, however. I'm sure this visit isn't for pleasure, but rather connected to your status as an element of harmony." Carrot Top blinked a few times at that. "Oh," she said, her fear not disappearing precisely, but rather being replaced with a more grim foreboding than otherwise embarrassed panic. She shifted from one hoof to another. She couldn't stop herself by glancing out a nearby window at her carrot field. "Well, I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but it take long," Luna nodded solemnly. "About a week," she said. "Heads to Colt Scouts, who are raised to look after your farm while you're gone." She offered a slight smile again, this one consoling rather than bemused. "They all have merit badges in coat farming, and will be more than up to the task of maintaining your farm while you're away. I assure you, I will compensate you for your time." Carrot Top nodded, pressing her foreheads together worriedly. She couldn't say precisely no to the Princess Luna, could she? Not as long as she was the element of generosity, and a recently appointed Knight of the Realm as well. "Okay," she said softly. "I better grab my things, then." "Please do," Luna said. She ruffled her wings slightly. "While the matter is serious, I do not anticipate any problems. I would rather explain everything to you and the other elements all at once, however." "No problems," Carrot Top said, blinking. "This doesn't have anything to do with Corona, does it?" It was very perceptible, but Luna flinched slightly at the mention of her sister, the tyrant's son, the whipping queen of Equestria. She didn't let any discomfort show beyond that one slip, however, instead shaking her head. "No, it does not. As I said, I would rather explain everything at once. Pack for a few days at sea, then go to the representative's residency. I need to go and collect the remainder of the elements now." Luna's Carrot Top nodded, as Luna and Trixie turned to leave. "Can I at least know where we're going?" Carrot Top asked before they could. Luna stopped, looking at Carrot Top. "The Sea of Tranquility," she said, "almost specifically. The Isle of Tambelon." "You know, guys, now that I think about it, Grogar doesn't get nearly as much love as Lord Tirek in fanfics. I mean, really. If you were to look at the list of ponyfics that have the ch1 villains, the one that shows up the most, besides being the smooths being referenced, is of course Lord Tirek. On the second rung is Grogar, but he doesn't show up or do as much. Which is a shame because I do love his premise. And you gotta admit, Grogar managed to grab the entirety of Tree Valley within a day. That was an impressive feat. Far, far to the north, in the oft-times volcanic mountain range that served as a buffer zone between Equestria and the various southerly Griffin kingdoms, lay the dormant, but by no means dead volcano where Celestia, rightful ruler of all ponydom, made her way to her temporary home. Why do I want a Ron Roster Lord Zed theme to be playing right about now? Hewn from obsidian and laced with veins of gold, the palace of Celestia had ordered her minions to construct and sat suspended by 3 mighty bridges in the crater of the volcano. An ideal hiding place for her. Few ponies would seek her out, or would ever think to check in a burning cauldron. Not that Princess Celestia had been hiding. She had been biding her time, planning, preparing. No longer. Celestia trotted down from her golden throne. "Sakura!" she called, keeping her voice under control, lest she shake the palace loose and send it tumbling into the magma below. "Sakura, where are you? I have hidden long enough. It is time for action!" The steps of the golden throne led down to a broad, wide throne room, which also doubled as the first floor of the palace. There was simply not enough room for a proper antechamber. Across the throne room was carelessly scattered piles of gold, heaps of diamonds, and collected trinkets, and sundries of little use but great value. It was the stolen hoard of a green dragon. Celestia used some of it thus far to fund the construction of her palace, and intended to use more to spread her influence into her sister's stolen realm. Her sister! Even the thought of that usurper made Celestia all but shiver in anger. Celestia stopped at the base of her throne, taking a moment to collect herself. Her mane and tail already animated to flames due to the anger she constantly felt at the usurpation of her position. The last thing she needed to do was let her anger get the better of her. Express itself by compounding the heat of flames, which essentially melt her horde. She might have been in a somewhat better mood, as Sakura responded to her call the first time. She did not like having to summon a servant more than once. 5 times was all but unforgivable, and Sakura was rapidly beginning to run through the immediately large amount of goodwill she had earned the Alicorn over half a year ago, when she had aided Celestia in her time of need, and helped prevent her treacherous sister and the corrupted elements of harmony from stealing her once more from within the burning heart of the sun. Since then, she had been proven to be loyal and trustworthy, a rare quality in this day and where was that zebra? Sakura! Celestia demanded. The palace rattled from the force of Celestia's exclamation, but didn't collapse into the magma pool that lay beneath it. Then Celestia was off once more, head bowed low and wings ruffling in supreme annoyance as she trotted over to the stairs of her palace and up one level to her servants' quarters. Currently, most of them were hiding, having sensed her bad mood and giving her a wide berth. Her servants were, unfortunately, few and far between right now. Sakura herself, a small cluster of salamanders, representing a larger tribe, over which Celestia now claimed total dominion, appeared from the doors to their shared quarters, but did not attempt to waylay Celestia in any way. And Solarath credited on. Solarath, the red and ancient dragon. The last did not properly have quarters on this level, as he was too large to fit anywhere in the palace throne room, and preferred to sleep within the magma that lay below anyway. However, that was not the case today. Solarath was instead glancing through a window in the palace. So all she could see of the world was one golden blind eye. She heard the sound of the dragon inhaling sharply. "She is in her room, O Queen," Solarath said, voice touched too subservient, possibly passing over into mocking territory. Celestia would have to deal with that later. "Perhaps she is ill." "For her sake, she had better be on death's doorstep," Celestia hissed. She stood before Sakura's door, raised one hoof, and pushed forward. The door, hewn from stone, shattered at the Alicorn's touch. She found herself staring into the room of what was once, but not currently, her most trusted minion, inasmuch as Celestia felt she could trust anything. Like the palace as a whole, the room was within a kept magically cool, as compared to the thousands of degrees it should have been. Celestia had seen fit to grant Sakura a further boon on making the room appear as though it were her native homeland of Sabraika. It looked as the inside of some tribal hut, decorated with masks, spears, and other trinkets and sundries. Its center dominated by a fire pit and pot for brewing potions. It was before this pot that Sakura sat on her haunches, facing the door, head cast down, and lips moving silently. She did not look up to acknowledge Celestia. It only incensed the Alicorn more as she took a single step into the room. Opening her mouth to speak, she was caught by surprise, however, when Sakura suddenly glanced up, eyes open wide. There was no sign of the zebra's aquamarine irises, nor pupils. Her eyes instead were white, glowing with power as much as Celestia's own did. Her face otherwise carrying no expressions began to speak, voice sounding like once her own, yet somehow twisted. "Know, O Queen of the Goldiest Sun, that far from here dark work's begun. On an island lost in time and tide comes a ram with evil at his side. Black horns I see and eyes of red, black heart I hear, calling the dead. Red eyes he has and fangs of white, red blood he seeks at end of night. An army made of sticks and stones, palace hewn from rocks and bones, a city built from hate and spite, a plan hatched by dark of night. He seeks his chance amid the stars, a choice made from breaks prison bars, freedom gained from the body of one who choose to fight rather than run. Bargain struck in a fight of power, an alliance made in darkest hour. To stop the rise of an ancient foe, some glory shall be brought low. This is what I see from so far, the return of demon ram Grogar, the threatened death of eternal dawn, and the return of Tambelon. Celestia froze as Sakura stopped speaking. The zebra's eyes fluttered once, then again, before she swayed and fell to her side, letting out a yelp of surprise that was completely at odds with the scene Celestia had just seen. She looked around as high as her for the first time, then noticed Celestia standing before her door. Sakura scrambled to her hooves, but they could only be brought down low, pressing her face into the floor beneath her. My queen, I apologize for the insult, she proclaimed. My gift called to me, and you heard the result. I did not mean to ignore your hand, but I cannot ignore when visits come from beyond the pale. Celestia stared down at Sakura, before taking 2 long steps to the room, spreading her wings wide as her mane and tail both flared. Visits, she asked. Ah, thy gift of prophecy, which thou hast spoken of so highly. I have never seen thee demonstrated before today. Celestia was all too aware she had letting herself slip into an older, now anchored in speaking habits. Under normal circumstances, she had little trouble adapting to the evolution of language, but the past 1,000 years had not been normal. Celestia had found herself needing a deliberate effort to speak modern equestrian, an effort she somehow forgot to make when particularly incensed. Sakura grins. I beg forgiveness, Majesty. It was not my intention to ignore. Silence! Celestia ordered. Sakura obeyed command almost instantly. At least, once again, casing her gaze to the floor below. The Alcorn ordered the zebra for a moment longer, before folding her wings to her side, forcing herself to order her anger, looking at the situation luckily. Grogar is not a name you should know. It should be more obscure to even Sola. From outside Sakura's room, Celestia heard the dragon rumble angrily. Dragons were prideful beings, and showed that pride had the same length, a syllable earned for every great achievement. To refer to Solakarazon as merely Solrath was a grave insult, but he failed in her initial task to him, and there was nothing that even a dragon as old as he could do to Celestia. Sakura's head remained bowed. My prophecies enlighten me with visions and words, she explained, but I need to research their meaning as the time occurs. I get it with knowledge of what is to come. If given a library, I could. Celestia fluttered her wings once more, and Sakura fell silent. Her eyes grew annoying, and on occasion, though Celestia knew enough of zebra culture, it would be pointless to order her to stop. At least, not without also inflicting lasting harm on the zebra to make her point clear, something she was uneager to do, or something that was merely annoying. She was above such pettiness. There will be no need for research, Celestia said, eyes narrowing as she turned around. She paused at Sakura's doorway a moment, before setting her horn aglow. The door repaired itself in moments, though it remained open as she glanced at it behind her at the zebra. Follow! She ordered. Sakura did so without hesitation, as Celestia walked back the way she came. Sola, Salamanders, you will join me in the throne room as well. The dragon again rumbled, while the Salamander seemed uneager to be in the same room as the larger dragon, but a single glance for Celestia was enough to convince them to come. Celestia glanced at Sakura. You have no control over yourself. Will your guests manifest? A nod will suffice. She added quickly at the thought of another rhyme. Sakura had her mouth open and ready, but did indeed nod instead of speaking at Celestia's command. Celestia orchestrated this as her little entourage reached the throne room, as she climbed the steps to her throne. By the time she had turned around and settled down, Solarath was entering the palace through its great double doors. Celestia made her decision. You will be forgiven for your disobedience, Sakura, if your actions are not yours to control when your prophecies manifest, Celestia decided, especially if your prophecies continue to yield news of such dire consequence. Sakura inclined her head in thanks, visibly relaxing. Fled the salamanders, but here, Celestia believed, so she had trouble telling the snakes apart from one another, slithered forward. He hissed silently. We missed what the Sakura Zebra said, Majesty. Celestia supposed you couldn't rightly blame them for that, as they had no doubt managed what had been T. Sakura, a natural collection ignoring her calls, and not been particularly wanting to witness a fate that would one day befall them. Celestia recalled to Sakura, "You remember your prophecy?" She asked. At another nod, Celestia waved a hoof, leaning back slightly. Sakura closed her eyes, and repeated exactly word for word, though without the odd inflection she possessed the last time. As a conclusion, Celestia nodded to Solrath, the only one in the room who was possibly both old and informed enough to understand what had been said. The worm, of course, did not see Celestia's gaze, being blind. However, he seemed to know what Celestia expected him to speak. "I know of Tambelon," he said. "An island, the only island, in what ponies call the Sea of Tranquility," he hissed. "A tiny thing, covered in jungle and devoid of sentiment." The dragon looked directly to Celestia, slow grin spreading on his mouth. "A recent development, I gather." Celestia let out a silent laugh. "Not recent, not even for me. The island had been abandoned for some time, 2,000 years, ever since Grogar was defeated by my sister and I." "Who was Grogar?" Behir asked. In a glare for Celestia, he quickly added, "Your majesty." Celestia pressed her lips together tenderly. "Tambelon," she began, "was not always abandoned. Once, long ago, it was the site of an entire equine city. Ponies, yes, but far more donkeys. When Equestria was yet young, only entering the end of its first millennium, the island of Tambelon, and the great city built upon it, already old, its inhabitants flourished on a train crossing the Sea of Tranquility, and they were a peaceful, idealistic folk, protected by a strong navy from outside threat, but no interest in expanding their borders, concerned instead with philosophy and learning." Celestia knew that, coming from her, that was high praise. In an age where the nascent Equestria had seemed beset on all sides by monsters and hostile nations, Tambelon had been a bastion of peace and stability. It had lasted. "Thither went Grogar," Sim continued aloud, "body of a great ram, but his mind and soul, black as night without my sister's moon. Through treachery and deceit, he inserted himself into the royal court of Tambelon, that he might gain access to the libraries and sorcery and spellcraft. Once he had what he came for, none on the island of Tambelon survived." Celestia remembered it even now. Tambelon was small, yes, but not so small in the distance of the city, and possessed small villages, farming communities, and seaweed harvesters that kept Tambelon failed. Thousands of ponies and donkeys, and even a representative of other races, had called the island home, and loved and lived, never stretched out a hoof to harm their neighbors. But when Celestia and Luna had flown over it to bring down Grogar, it had been devoid of life. Every Jack and Jenny, mare and stallion, foal, had lain still wherever their life had been snuffed out. In their homes, shops, their boats, their fields, even in their roads and streets, Grogar walked and moved amongst their bodies, as though they were not even there, uncaring and unconcerned of his act of ecocide. The sheer apathy he had shown towards his own crimes pushed any thought of reason from Celestia's mind, and Luna's as well. "What did he seek that led to an event so bleak?" Sakura asked. "Death," Celestia responded, through hard-grit teeth. "And in life and death, Grogar was a necromancer, a speaker to the dead, with power over disease and decay, though his skill in other forms of magic were by no means lacking. Sorcerer himself was a mighty sorcerer as Grogar, but no other mage, not before and not since, well, except for maybe Astor Corsair. Hey-oh! Who's Starswell?" Celestia's eyes narrowed. She nearly reprimanded Behir for asking so stupid a question. But then again, she supposed salamanders cared little for pony history. "Irrelevant," Celestia said, wings fluttering in annoyance as she pressed forward. "What matters is that my sister and I, when we learned of Grogar's actions upon Tambelon, turning there to bring vengeance down upon him for what he had done to Tambelon,
For a full night and day, Grogar challenged us, defied us, fought us to a standstill. But no longer than that. My sister and I stood triumphant. I would have slain him in retribution for the death he had brought to Tambelon. Luna, however, suggested a different punishment. Grogar desired immortality, you see, and so Luna laid my killing blow, suggesting we should banish Grogar to realm of shadow. Time does not pass in shadow as it does here. Centuries may pass here, but the amount of mere weeks within shadow. Grogar's magics were more than enough to keep him fed and watered, so instead he would suffer, marooned on a place beyond the world that while the world learned of what he had done, became horrified. But then over time, slowly but surely, forgot about him. He would be denied even the immortality of fame. When at last none knew by his name but Luna and I, then he would be allowed to die.
One of the other salamanders, Reverence perhaps, blinked a few times.
That seems kind of hardcore for Luna, she said.
Celestia's eyes narrowed.
The morals of the time were different, she noted, and Luna may be slower to anger than I. But when incited, she has a cold fury knows no mercy. Only now.
Celestia stood and stepped away from her throne as the fires of her mane and tail heated up in anger.
Now I wonder if perhaps this was some plan of hers all along.
What do you mean, my queen? Sakura asked. He was looking at her face. She shied away from the heat of Celestia's fame. The Alcorn took a moment of will to cool and let them cool. Like every other individual in the throne room, Sakura was not fireproof. Sora chuckled slightly before Celestia could answer Sakura. He sat back on his hind legs, tapping two of his claws together.
Her Majesty wonders if even then Luna was plotting to overthrow her, he rumbled. A bargain made to fight power. An alliance struck in the darkest hour. Yes, a plan hatched by dark of night.
Celestia glared at Sora as he advanced down the steps of her throne, but did not respond. He was right after all.
1,000 years ago, my sister stole the powers of Tirek and stopped my rightful coronation. Perhaps that was only a final, desperate bid for power. However,
she paced around her throne, glancing at her servants one at a time, before looking upwards. The gold in the obsidian ceiling did not impair her vision at all, if she did not will it to, nor the secreted layers of her palace. She saw through to the night sky, and the waxing crescent moon that hung in it.
The magic that imprisoned Grogar within shadow was supposed to last until my sister or I bade it leave. If he is returning, they can only be through my sister's will. By corrupting the elements of harmony, Luna has already struck a grievous blow against me, and it's taken me half a year to fully recover. But the elements could not banish me again. Never again! That's Luna now grows to fear my power, so she seeks out allies. She means to bind Grogar to her will.
Celestia shook her head.
The elements, the demon ram Grogar, the imposter Anacorn without Kavina, and Luna herself. No small challenge even for me to overcome, should she ever find me and attack. She would do anything in Equestria to keep her and hers away from me. Me! Her own sister! Her elder! Her better!
So then, what shall we do, O Queen?
Slarth asked. He was back, it seemed, to play the role of faithful servant. The act did not fool Celestia, as he supposed it did, but she was content to play along for now, as long as Slarth did as he bade. She cared little for what she thought of others. Celestia thought. Prophecies were, by definition, forewarnings. Tambelon would return, but it had not yet. Celestia had encountered no small number of true prophecies in her time, where they only ever spoke of what could happen. Prophecies could be fought, overcome, if one had a mind to do it. Perhaps there was still a chance to act before her sister struck whatever fell bargain she intended, leave her design stillborn. One thing was certain. Grogar could not be allowed, under any circumstance, to ally with Luna. The cost to Equestria would be too late, and Luna would gain far, far too powerful an ally. Celestia looked to the salamanders.
You shall remain here, she ordered. I see little use for a tribe of fire lizards on the island. But Sakura, you and Solath!
Again the dragon rumbled, his facade dropping for a moment. But he did nothing other than growl.
So accompany me to Tambelon. Perhaps we can beat my sister there, lay a trap for her. I can banish her once more to the moon, and then slay Grogar as I should have 2 millennia ago.
Yes, you decree, my queen. So shall it be, Sakura said, bowing low again. Unlike Sorath, Celestia found no hint of mockery in her voice. She was honestly loyal and obedient. Profit-induced tardiness aside. Sorath, meanwhile, was pressing the claws of his forelimbs together tightly, bared his fangs.
Luna, he hissed, banished. Is that all you intend to do, O Queen? She's such a traitor.
Celestia's eyes narrowed. Sorath had a personal vendetta against Luna. As the last surviving member of a family of dragons that, 7,000 years ago, fought to invade Equestria and plunder it with Celestia, no longer around to protect it. Luna had rapidly and fatally disabused Sorath's father and most of his brothers of the notion, and the few surviving worms had fled. Sorath apparently gotten over it, however, and he desired his blood. He would never get it, of course, but it was useful to string him along.
It is all I intend, Sorakrasimon,
he said, using his full name for added effect.
But Luna is treacherous by her nature. Perhaps you shall have your chance.
Celestia doubted immensely he would. 1,000 years ago, Luna had stood tall against 8 dragons in one. Sorath presented no threat to her. Luna would be banished to the moon for 1,000 years or longer, as Celestia willed it. She would take back Equestria from her clumsy hooves, guide it once more into the daylight. Sure no being could ever threaten it, and the fall-like pillars that inhabit it.
We'll leave in 1 hour, Celestia commanded. And soon thereafter, Equestria will be mine once more.